Hello everyone, it's Carter from Coaster Explorers, and today I'm going to be talking about Maxx Force at Six Flags Great America. So let's get started. This roller coaster is bonkers. S&S was absolutely mad to cram this launch roller coaster with 5 inversions in this minimalistic plot of land. I mean, directly to your right is the water park. Right in front of you, you've got Raging Bull, Viper, and then the train actually crosses right next to this as well. So, that being said, let's talk about this launch, because this launch is just brutal. This is a air compressed launch. There's not many of these out there. In fact, the world's fastest accelerating launch coaster just closed for good. And that roller coaster is at Fuji-Q Highland. It was known as Dota Dampa. 0 to 112 in 1.6 seconds. Absolutely ridiculous. But let's not shy away from this launch coaster, because this is still absolutely ridiculous. 0 to 78 in 1.8 seconds. That's crazy. That's the fastest 0 to 78 I've ever experienced. That's for sure. This roller coaster has only lap bars, so you feel very exposed. And I do like the trains a lot. I've never experienced S&S trains like this, and I like them. They're pretty good. It seems like, I'm pretty sure Steel Curtain has the same trains as these. I have not been on Steel Curtain, but I got to see it, and that's what the trains looked like. Anyway, after you're in your train, you pull forward onto this launch track, and the first thing you notice is this tunnel. And that tunnel is there because the train crosses directly over you. So that's really cool. And it's a really cool visual when you're accelerating. And they play some music while you're waiting on the launch track. At least they did when I was there. I was in the back row. And you sit and just wait as your heart is racing, because what you're about to experience is the best part of the ride, and that is that gut punch launch. It's a blind launch, so you don't know when you're going to take off, and that adds a fear factor to this ride, and I really appreciate that. If you're not on the ride, as soon as the train takes off, you hear this massive sonic boom that you cannot really hear on YouTube videos. Like, before I went to the park, I did not expect to hear that because I didn't hear it in videos. But when you're in the park, anywhere you are in the park, you can hear a massive, blast. It's really intimidating, and you always know when Maxx Force is launching. If you're on the ride, you can't hear it because the only thing you're focused on is your soul has left your body, because that launch ripped your face off. After this launch, you're going to go into what is known as the dog tongue. This is 2 inversions. It's almost like a banana roll, except it's more spread out. That's the best way I can describe it. After that dog tongue, you go down and in this massive high-speed barrel roll. And this is very comparable to the arcade roll on Air Force One. It is not nearly as crazy as the Mosasaurus roll, but it's very comparable to the arcade roll on Air Force One. That's honestly a pretty good comparison, I'd say. Then you go up into this weird inversion that I have heard the name be called a max dive loop, but I can't confirm that. I've heard that name be used though, so it might be called that. But basically you rise up, flip to your left, but you go more than just straight upside down. You basically flip 270 degrees, so you're just dangling on your side. You stall out, and then you invert again into the brake run. It is very bizarre. It's a weird feeling, and I don't know. It was bizarre. I didn't know what to think of it. I liked it, but it's just a sensation I've never experienced. And also, while I'm on that, this ride, the pacing is very weird. You go really fast to really slow to really fast to really slow to really fast to the brakes. So it doesn't have the most stable pacing compared to other roller coasters that I've been on, but honestly, I think if you were going full speed towards all of these elements, it would be too much. So I don't think that's a big deal. So that's the ride experience. Another thing I'd like to touch on is this ride is very smooth. I rode in the back row and I did not feel any rattling whatsoever. So I'm sure it's even better up front. So roughness is not an issue with this one at all. I would love to see more S&S air compressed launches out there. There's not very many. There's only one other one in the US as of the time of this video, and that's Powder Keg at Silver Dollar City, and I have yet to ride that one either, but I'd love to get out there at some point. So, what do I rate this ride out of 10? Well, for me loving launch coasters, it's going to be high. And yes, this roller coaster is in my top 25. If I was just ranking the launch, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. It's the most forceful launch I've ever experienced, and I've been on dragster multiple times. I honestly don't know which launch I prefer, but the launch on this ride gets a 10 out of 10. But the entire ride, I'm going to say I give it a 9 out of 10, simply because, like I mentioned, the pacing is weird. You go like really fast to really slow to really fast to really slow into the brakes. It's just, the pacing isn't steady. But other than that, the ride is absolutely fantastic. So what do you think of this ride? Have you ridden it before? If you have, let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't ridden it, I highly, highly recommend you go experience this ride, because there are not many air compressed launches out there, and as of right now, this is the most powerful one in existence. So, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.